I suppose the beginning of this is really called the Sunday Horror, or how we get to becoming the Sunday Horror, because this is quite a horror story you're about to hear, New Zealand, and I'll start right from the beginning. Interesting, some say Mother's Day, eh? Fuck, what a disgrace to the human race, Samoa in New Zealand. My video sort of forms on today about my sound being disabled and my HDMI connection being removed and the driver for it, and it can't be changed or altered, to my display settings in high resolution, because I use a 4K monitor which can do 8K, by the way, and the resolution being fucked with this morning, which was, I believe, done yesterday. Now, and the importance of that is that I'm currently before a tribunal, and part of that tribunal hearing is to discuss and ascertain the validity and the truth behind the John Keys matter. It's very important. The whole country will hear about it. Number two, the credibility about the internet and attacking what's going on. Well, that is exactly what's going on. And it's called human torture. And it's to do repetitive acts to a person over and over and over again, every day, all day, for 10 fucking years. These cunts have been at it. There's a group of people. I don't know why they do it, but I suppose they're trying to do it. From what I can see, and from what I came up with an idea and said, well, because of John Keys, isn't this person sort of trying to program me to kill the Prime Minister? Because they're doing a repeat act again. And I can see that they're head of state. I can quite see that that's likely where it ends. And I don't want to kill anyone. I'm a nice, peaceful person, and I'm not into violence. But I believe that these people are trying to program me to do that. And of course, I wouldn't commit that offence. So I'll progress from there and explain the rest. These people are fucking terrorists. And why can't the government spend some money on stopping them? Because I can tell you this, New Zealand, has cost near $1 million fucking dollars to do everything but investigate it. Now there's going to be a tribunal hearing, and evidence is asked to be called for, which includes a transcript from the district court and a copy of my convictions and the sentencing notes from the registrar, Mr. Wolfgram, at the Auckland District Court in relation to the John Keys hearing, because the public might like to know that I was telling the truth. And I like to tell you that it's in that transcript and that evidence is very clear. So why I've been attacked and persecuted from mental health, the police, and everyone else who reckons that I went to John Keys' place with a gun is beyond a fucking joke, and I've got every right to feel angry and say, I believe you are trying to program me by these actions and acts because they're based on lies, and they are lies. Now, as I said, I get to present evidence about this in a week's time now. I've had smooth sailing for 2 days after, coming back from that hearing, going online, and we're having the rich incident with the rich and the poor tax. Well, for Christ's sakes, put 20% tax on anyone who earns over $300,000. Get the fuck on with it. You're killing everyone. The poor gets real poor, and the rich are getting fucking mega rich. Get on with it. And cut the shit out, and the public won't mind. They'll support you for doing something proper. Because after my hearing, the day after, that's where I got attacked. Now, I thought because the SIS, being the Security Intelligence Service, since they know that their name's involved in now not just my conversation, but a court hearing, okay? This tribunal has quite a bit of weight and authority. They can instantly recommend to the Ombudsman or the Prime Minister action to be taken, and it will have to be involving the Minister of Justice with my case, because there's certain wrongs that have to be righted. And I'm not asking for anything extra. I'm just asking for what I'm entitled to as a human being and my human rights. And I feel like I'm being bullied, stand over, drugged, threatened, intimidated, harassed electronically and offline. That's in my home, my place where I'm guaranteed, so-called, with the law, to be protected from anybody violating it. Well, somebody is violating it. And under the Domestic Violence Act, they've violated it for a period exceeding 6 months. That makes it a domestic violence matter. It's controlled, criminal, human torture. Does nothing. Makes people kill if you continue to do it. You just ignore it. It's a controlled act. And I believe Microsoft are behind it. It's either them or GCSB. There's no fucking dispute about it, cunt. It's the service ports that are used. Bloody tricky, sicky muck. Now, our security intelligence service would have to know that I've indicated that, hey, mate, it's Dean. He's saying the same thing he said 4 years ago. Well, how about it? Because it's fucking true. That's the disturbing part about it. Now, I've got that on video of that taking place and the acts that are taking place and are in a controlled manner. And the people who do have access to it are like the intelligence sector, who work for the Defence Force at Devonport at the Navy base doing hacking. And we know which gangs are involved with that, eh? Or would you like me to tell the public? Hey, Minister, get fucking with it, cunt. And by the way, how did the government end up with White Power being the government's lawyer's head of security? Eh? White Power. Because the head of Trapman Tripp Security is the head of White Power. He lives in Devonport and he's ex-Navy. You know, I think I might know a bit more than what you think. And I know the truth. And the truth counts. Now, just going on back to the latest attack on my computer. I believe the sound driver was rewritten with a date of the 20th of the 1st, 2020. Overwriting, somehow, the current HDMI driver in the audio selection and any selection to change the audio output. So you can't change it to DMI. I only use an HDMI monitor. I don't have anything else. I'm a poor person who has fuck all, who spent thousands of dollars on a monitor, which is because of my eyesight, you know, and I'm on a benefit. So how am I supposed to sustain reloading Windows every couple of weeks at 30 or 40 bucks to do it every time when the cunts are just going to destroy my system all the time? You know, there comes a point in time where reality has to set in for the government, and it being a controlled criminal act. Microsoft, Viaduct. Well, it'd be funny if they landed in space, wouldn't it? Yeah, I heard a story about a farmer and ammonium nitrate, but I know nothing about that. Yes, no, I'm nothing like Timothy McVeigh. I'd rather have justice. Now, this week I've had relatively smooth sailing until Friday afternoon. Don't know why or what changed, but I know this, that the Government Security Bureau did a system check after I'd removed all the files on Wednesday from these wankers in my system. It took me hours offline with the network to get disconnected. Then we come to Friday afternoon. Smooth sailing till then all of a sudden shit starts happening. Now, I say the government have a conflict of software which they're using which interacts with my machine. But in doing so, they're committing human torture because they're doing so knowingly and they're just going, who gives a fuck? Fuck them. Because that's what's happening. They're relying on the Mental Health Act and things like that to disempower me when I'm about to prove that I'm telling the truth. I've had to sustain haloperidol injections, massive doses that cause me to suffer immense pain with migraines that I get, because I get migraines twice more frequently, not 3 times more worse. Do you know what it's like to live with pain? Because that's something else I live with every fucking day. My guts with Crohn's, my spine with a spinal injury, and my brain with a brain injury. I don't ask for any extra help or anything. They didn't even claim ACC. So what the fuck are you hassling me for? I'm just trying to live the last bit of my life, and it is the very last bit of my life, with some peace and dignity, something you refuse to give me, which I'm entitled to. Now, torture is an act against somebody's will. Well, this act is against my will, and not only is it just once, it's every day, all day, every day. Interfering with my mouse, I open up pages to watch, to view, they delete them. They close the pages off. I don't have much control over my mouse. They do, or the program that interferes or clashes with does. Now that to me is torture if it's being ignored and it's said it's delusional, when I can show it taking place in videos for a number of years, in fact. And does that not define crimes against humanity, human torture, being a Nazi War Criminal Offence Act? Because that's the reality of it, New Zealand. And I have made a complaint to the United Nations, and I did go to Geneva, and I do know what a petition is, and I don't think you quite understand. Some might say, well, that's a bit radical. I'm looking at this very clearly on what sort of act to a disabled person, and I'm being a disabled person with a brain injury that's got a great disability to everybody else out there in the community who has no choice. All I'm trying to do is lead my life peacefully. I help people in the community. What the fuck are you attacking me for? Because you're committing human torture by doing it. It's a repetitive act. It's no delusion. I've had countless people here witness watching it go on, and they'll go, well, fuck, it looks like torture to me. And it's very much the subject and topic of the court case and tribunal hearing about my mental health. And you people are taking the piss out of me directly who are doing it. You're actually insulting the meaning of life and everything by what you're doing, and you know it. And the Security Intelligence Service would have to be able to tell so easy, because I can tell where the files come in. They're all time state damped 2019, and they were placed in 2022 in the 4th month. They don't really relate to my machine. They're what somebody else is putting in. Has control, manipulation over my desktop. Well, it all stinks of GCSB, Cheryl Gwynn, and Rebecca Kindred from the SIS. And they do know. They know who I am. This is no game. This is serious shit. I don't want to hurt no one. And they know they can trust me. You don't. And I've had enough. And it's time something happened, because this is human torture. And I have had enough. Now, there's someone innocent on my IP, I know, because I sense them. They're holding on with a micro-kilobit. I believe that could be maybe possibly my daughter. I don't know how, but maybe, you never know. Or my ex-wife, but you never know. But they're quite innocent. Microsoft and the government, who have access to those service files, are directly interfering with my life for a criminal act called torture. Fuck killing Jacinda Ardern. I couldn't be fucked even if you wanted me to, I wouldn't. So go to hell. It's not a threat. It's the way it is. That's what I believe you're trying to create, and I'm against it. I'm against the whole fucking thing. All I want to do is watch a little bit of YouTube. All I do is post the news. I don't even upload much myself anymore. You want to see NSA documents? I'll open up my computer and you'll shit your fucking pants, cunt. So don't fuck with me. WikiLeaks and I know about a directive. It's called Directive 51. Do you know what Directive 51 is? It's the end of the world. It's when the US government gets disbanded and taken over by the military. Do you know why? Something to do with Christianity, the foundation of what our Western life is all about, because it's only the Western world which follows Christianity, need I remind you all. The Muslim and the Orthodox are far greater, if not just as big as the Western Christian world. Better respect you. Now, I've got copies of emails from people like Michelle Obama, so I do know what I'm talking about. And she does know about my daughter, Jacine. And I think she'd be horrified if I'd have to call her and say, please, beg, I help you. Can you help me? They offered me a green card. I don't want trouble. I just want to lead my life nice and peacefully and quietly. Not interested in all the bullshit and what happened with WikiLeaks or nothing. It's over. I'm retired. I'm doing nothing. I'm not hurting anyone. And help people out. Why are you hassling me?